Okay, we should be live. I'm gonna go ahead and check on my phone to see if my stream is active. I don't think anyone's going to be watching right now, but just in case anybody's here, I'm just doing a test stream real quick to make sure that everything's okay. Oh, I need to go ahead and switch my account. Okay. Hmm. I think that's what I put. Oh, nope. Alright, well, bear with me as I try to find it. I don't think anyone's gonna watch this VOD, and I don't think they should, but yeah. You might be able to see on your screen that the tabletop, the virtual tabletop that I've been using for a while now, is an Astral, or is Astral rather. It's something that I found that I enjoyed a lot more than using Roll20, even though I know it's very popular. Um, but yeah, basically, it is ending on August 30th, which is a little after I start up school again for my college. But yeah, what's it called? Just gonna make the most of what we got left with Astral as well as like my assets and stuff. Um, let's see. Da, 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 da. See if I can find it. Damn. Let me go back. It says I should be streaming right now. Ah, there we go. Okay. So I am currently watching my stream live. I think there's only a few seconds of delay. But we'll see. Huh, okay. Get that out of my face. But yeah, just making sure, testing the stream. I also want to make sure that the VOD saves the entirety of the stream on the channel as well. That would help me out a lot, mainly because I don't want to uh, like record the stream and then also do like an innate recording on my own PC. Like my PC should be able to handle it. It's just I prefer not to use up so much power and energy from this one thing. Um, yeah, let's see. Well, while you're here, I guess I will take us through Astral and I guess a bunch of different other things. Mainly to test the audio and stuff like that. But basically, my history with Astral, I started 2 years ago, spring of I want to say spring of 2021. No, yeah, it would have been spring of 2021. When I first played, my friend Ryan was running Icewind Dale, Rime of the Frost Maiden for us. We can see some of the stats here. One of the things I really appreciate about Astral is this timeline that I would set. So you can see how long the session lasted, as well as like any prep work your DM does, right? Like you can see that DMs can also delete it, but yeah. Another thing is that it shows like your player characters, which I really like. So there's me. I played a half-orc bard named Wallflower. My cousin played tiefling paladin named Reverence. My friend Jared played an Aarakocra ranger. I think he was a Gloomstalker on top of that. And his name was Augustus something. I think it was Augustus Caesar Julius or something like that. And then another friend, Leia, played Fron Beazle or Beasley, something like that. Uh, I think we ended up completing 3 or 4 missions. We actually captured some polar bears, and they became like our big friends. But yeah, we're on infinite hiatus. I don't know if we'll ever be able to play again, but I would like to. Second is last summer I ran a campaign called Birds of a Feather. Here you can see a lot more characters. That's because some people died. They ended up acquiring a lot of NPCs in their party, so that's why I'm listed as like 3 different people. Uh, let's see, yeah, so May 27th. So yeah, we played last summer this campaign, and I also ran this campaign concurrently together. Birds of a Feather was a prison breakout story, basically. And why don't we go ahead and take a look inside? So yeah, here Astral has a little fog of war. You can start playing. So one of the things I liked was the UI. The UI was very nice, very clean. Let's see how far I can go back. Yeah, so typically we have this starting map here that has the title of that campaign. That way people can sort of mess around a little bit. It's going to be different for players, but most of them have the ability to draw, and as well you can do brush effects. One of the things that I wish they were able to do was just draw geometric shapes. Like for example, drawing cones or circles, it's not something you typically can do in your games, even though it would be super handy. There is like a ruler function, but unlike Roll20, you can't like click to make a node and then, continue sizing out. But from the DM perspective, it was really cool that you had a bunch of like different dynamic lighting effects. Like I could change this to a nighttime map. So if I would load daytime maps in and then I would change it to like sunset. That was pretty cool. It also had an innate audio player that was pretty good quality. So let's see. I had a few songs here that I stole from another DM who should not be named because he's a piece of shit. But yeah, they had quick creatures here as well. Up to a pretty high level, like a Bone Devil. I think it's like a CR9, CR13, something like that. But yeah, you can drop creatures really quickly in there. So, for example, let's say they want to go against an Aboleth. Um, and then all of the different attacks and actions are like on a hot bar for your num keys. You can also press initiative to have it roll, stuff like that. And if you go inside, um, you can assign nicknames, put URL to the character sheet, adjust the size, right? Dynamic lighting was like a big feature, but I ended up never really using it. Um, yeah, they have different status effects. You can change the HP. You can add more bars as well for like resources and stuff like that. Um, we really mess around with a lot. They also had macros that I liked mainly because I program. Uh, so it has a sort of programming like logic for the macros, and yeah, there's just a lot of stuff that I thought was like had a lot of potential. Had a lot of things you do, like all the variables and stuff are over here, and you could just mess around with them and they propagate through, and it was really nice. Let me go ahead and delete this character. But yeah, and then here I won't go through too many of the maps. This should be a different image actually, but basically, I would load different. I had loaded several different maps here, and you can like go through them all pretty fast. This is where the party ended. That's the famous stone giant named Yagay. Will I elaborate? No, but this was one of those PCs or NPCs rather that the party ended up uh, gathering to their side and helping them to break out of this prison. This was actually the landing zone, so the prison's inside of a valley on a lava river, and it generates a lot of precious gems. So instead of having money, they would mine gems and they would trade that in, basically to sustain their own life as they lived in here. This is a squad of kobolds they had. I think only two of them survived. But yeah, these are the main PCs. We have Cecily, Micah. Well, Micah's not actually one of the PCs. Micah's um the sort of last second PC that one of the characters ended up controlling after he died. And then we have Skiddle Skidoodle, another half orc fighter, and then Rocky. I think he was an Earth Genasi rogue. And then this is their all-time favorite character, Pommel. Uh, would talk in a Kermit voice and go, Pommel here, Kermit the Frog here, something like that. And Pommel basically was a sort of engineer-like figure. Him and Cecily and Yagay are off doing things now in the world and making a difference. It's cool, fancy, fun stuff. Here's Saint Axel. So Saint Axel was a three-headed machination. It was a guard dog who was guarding this area, which is the landing zone. And over here we have the mines. I haven't looked in stuff in over a year now, I believe. Oh yeah, they imprisoned a beholder inside the prison. They actually, I believe they like cut off several of the eye tentacles, and then the last eye they like eroded so that none of the eyes were effective, basically, but you still had them chompers. Yeah, and then so the party would wander throughout here. They would mine for gems every day. And typically they wouldn't be able to mine enough gems inherently to make it through the day. So it incentivized the players to either barter or do some sort of exchange, compete, steal, anything really to ensure their survival. And also had some interesting moral quandaries because limited supply, like there was less gems than there were people who needed. uh so that was another point of intrigue. Here's their cell block where they live. This is the guard that would watch over him. His name's Casper. And he was really bad at his job because, surprise, surprise, they end up escaping. Over here was one of the really interesting sections where they snuck into the Wardens Quarters to steal some stuff. I believe the main thing was to try and steal a way to take off these collars that would poison them if they did not get enough gems, and it would actually have a petrifying poison. Throughout this area, there are three different statues. So what I thought would be cool is if they'd had like secret interactions where they could meet different deities. And then there's actually a blind man here. I got this plot point from Skyrim where like you walk in and this person doesn't know who they are by sight, but can hear them coming and will ask if, they're one of the guards or something, and they rolled a successful deception check. Um, I believe this person still like basically foreshadowed the presence of deities within this area. Like this used to be a dwarven temple, and then they converted it. Kind of like how in Avatar, when they converted one of the air temples into, an area of machinations. The party ended up going through this back way, if I remember correctly, fought some Skelly boys, and then they got to here with a bunch of alcohol barrels. And what they did was they saw that people were being trained in here, and they threw a barrel. I believe Skidoodle, got a nat 20 to explode the barrel, instantly killing what were mechanically commoners and one guard. I don't even think they made it into this chamber. They actually just walked away from it. One of my players, there's a deity that's based off of him. One of the guy who ran the Frostbane campaign, his name's Ryan, and there's a deity that's based off of a character. that he had played previously in a one-shot of mine, I believe. And so he played a cleric of a god that was based on him, and it was really all just giving like a big ego thing. And I thought it was funny, so I encouraged him to do it. But he met his god, and his god was like disappointed in him, but still gave him his blessing anyway. Um, yeah, and so that enabled his turtle character to have a dragon breath because of different lore stuff. And then here, they killed a construct and a guard. Oh, and then it was revealed that the sort of internal machinery for the collars was actually invented by Cecily, who's played by my friend Kayla, and it was really really cool because she had this moment of like, hey, I want to try and see if I can take off the collars by myself because they didn't find the magical key in order to do it. It was some kind of MacGuffin, and she rolled a nat 20. But her backstory was that she was an arms dealer, so I thought it would be cool if what they took the internal machinery of one of your designs and they actually put it into the collars. But because of that and knowing who you are, you're someone who has a lot of meticulous backup plans in case these for such a situation as this where they're going to use it against you. So you actually put in a failsafe, and unintentionally that had been oh, someone blew up fireworks. I don't know if you can hear it. I jumped out of my chair. Um, but basically, yeah, everything's okay outside my window. I just wanted to make sure real quick. But basically, so she was able to take everybody's collars off because retroactively, because of that natural 20, it was made into a twist that she could actually fully understand how to disable it in a way that made sense for her character, and I thought that was really cool. Um, yeah, again, like the the UI of Astral is very clean. I'm very sad to see that it's going, but I also don't have money to give, and I'm very sorry to the people at Astral. But I hope that they're able to, take their experience and bring it somewhere else and improve other VTTs uh, as well. So yeah, let's go on to the next map. Oh, that was the wrong button. So yeah, Warden's Quarters. So this is the sewers. I think I deleted one of the maps because there was another map where their friend Pommel was basically being held captive, and they were going to execute Pommel for a crime he didn't commit, but one of the party members committed. So, and I think it was like an unintended consequence because they didn't think of something, and because of their negligence, Pommel the Kobold Artificer had been taken to be executed. Um, and so they inspired an army of kobolds to come with them, along with the Stone Giant Yige, who was a companion of the Beholder. And they went through the sewers um, because of a secret passage they had found in a different mission to go and save their friend. And I believe this encounter was purposefully like not balanced in the least. They ended up at level 3 by this point, and they it was an absolute slaughter. They lost, I think, like over 75% of the kobolds. Jige got banished, and then he came back and he was enlightened. It was a whole ordeal. Oh, and then this is the Warden. The Warden had the mechanics of an Archmage, I believe. Um, okay, this is probably a different warden, but I do remember the warden being able to cast one ninth level spell because at one point she was fighting I think 21 kobolds simultaneously, and because they were dealing so much damage to her, she spent a ninth level spell slot to fuck them up, and that was the point when the real danger of the situation set in for the party because they killed all of the guards, and they had gotten their hands on Pommel, but guarding the main entrance was the warden. And while they had been suffering from like losing resources and HP and different things. The Warden was at full power. She is able to cast a ninth level spell, and when she does so, the party was incredibly frightened because that was the moment diegetically that they understood this is not a situation that we can fight our way out of. We have to be smart and we have to run. And one of the characters, Rocky, that I mentioned earlier, who's played by one of my friends and who's going to be living with me as like a housemate in a few days, named Trevor. He was playing this character named Rocky, and he had a big reveal where the warden cornered him. Like I believe he was right here, and the warden was here, and he revealed that he wasn't actually a pirate at all. In fact, he was just a poser. He was a charlatan, and he had fooled everybody this entire time. But since he was about to die, he let the warden know the truth so that somebody could. And then basically what's happening was this entire place was collapsing. They hit a bunch of load-bearing beams, as well as the warden had done collateral damage, and so the place was falling apart, both structurally in a physical sense, as well as a lot of the personnel had been murdered, and people were breaking out of their cells, so a lot of different chaotic things were happening, and as a result, mechanically, there was rubble that would fall as the warden was chasing Rocky, because Rocky was the one who was believed to have some sort of MacGuffin that the warden prioritized over everything else. And that's when he had this whole dialogue, and then Rox fell. She had a nat 1 and Rocky got a nat 20, and so he was able to escape with his life. And it was quite the luckiest thing that I had seen up until that point. And then they made it back to the landing zone where they had one of the devices was a magic item that allowed somebody to control Saint Axel. And so the story goes is that because they had gone through all the effort to break into the warden's office, they didn't have to fight Saint Axel, or at least the fight to Saint Axel, the win condition became, instead of destroying all of Saint Axel's health points, the game became getting able to climb on top of Saint Axel and shove the magic item into like a slot that reset the dog basically, and then they rode Saint Axel outside, out like vertically upwards out of the chasm and the river of lava. So in their epilogues, basically Cecily, Pommel, Yagay, and Saint Axel went off to help out with a second campaign. Um, the characters from a second campaign to create a new sort of high tech, relatively high tech rather, civilization that's sort of steampunky but has an element of magic in it. Micah, who my friend Ryan ended up inheriting as one of the kobolds, Micah ended up doing something else of note. I have it written down somewhere. I just don't remember off the top of my head. Skedaddle became like a wandering pirate badass. Um, and then Rocky, I think Rocky went on to also become a pirate and turn all of his lies into reality and become a great pirate. Like he always said he was. He just never lived that dream. So yeah, that was that campaign. So let me go ahead and head out. Actually, let me go ahead and share what the player view looked like. So let's go ahead and choose Cecily and view as her. So yeah, she has a magic resource here. She has her HP, so you can adjust it here. This is your player menu. You can also press spacebar to open up everything. And one of the annoying parts was that it wasn't super straightforward, or like it wasn't super simple to just set up a character sheet, because a lot of things are text, a lot of things are actions that you could, like, for example, I press firebolt and it automatically does it. And it's really easy, but you have to do a lot of pre-prep work. And so as a DM, it ended up taking me a fair bit longer, maybe 50, 25% longer than usual. Sometimes if I gave people things like magic items, I would have to set up the macros, make sure it all rolled correctly, it was formatted nicely, it was color coded. That's something that I specifically find to be helpful. But yeah, again, Like there were a lot of things I came to really uh appreciate about Astral. Yeah. Like another thing, for example, can't see it. I'm gonna get rid of this banner, but yes, Astral will be gone after Tuesday, August 30th. One thing that was cool is if you're not uh assigned to a character or an NPC, as a DM, one of the things you could do is you can put them back to full HP. You can instantly kill them. Let me put them back. You can heal for a number or damage for a number. You can also center on a character like that, so it automatically reframes your screen. You can add people to combat. This is the initiative tracker. If I were to reset the combat and start it up again, and then I can add the entire party, so it automatically rolls for everyone. And again, this is how many people I had in the party. Ryan's original character is named Nordle. I don't know if he still exists. I think I didn't delete him, so let's see if I can find him. But yeah, it was just really cool that you could do stuff like that. Um, like there were a lot of strengths that this had that a lot of other virtual tabletops I found didn't. Like again, the UI was one of my favorite things, but there's a lot of just quality of life things that they weren't able to get to, and that was very unfortunate. Let me see for the characters. If Nordle is still here somewhere. Oh yeah, this is the deity. His name's Gigas. This is my friend Ryan. He's like a dwarven forge god. One of the big things about his lore is that he revived the dragons. So basically, all the dragons had died out under mysterious circumstances, but Gigas had basically reforged the dragons um and turn these sort of constructs into living beings. So he's not only like a sort of uh like a god of blacksmiths and different other things, but he's also a god of dragons. There's an interesting connection there. That's why like there's so many kobolds because thematically uh they tied in to him. Oh, here is Nordle. I found him. This is our boy. Um, Ryan also gave him a ridiculous AC. Yeah, his AC was 20. And then I think he had shield as well, so he would get it up to like 25 or something stupid. But yeah, he had this super strong defensive build on top of him having 20 strength. Uh yeah, he was just a super well optimized cleric. So mad props to Ryan for that. But anyway, get him out of my face. Uh And yeah, that was basically a quick recap on that. Yeah, and let me actually check if my stream real quick. I don't think anyone, yeah, I highly doubt that anyone's going to view it, but I think for posterity's sake, I'd like to have just a quick exploration of this. Um, yeah, and then let me see if I can quickly recount the first session or the first rather season of Tribe and Travels. This is a sequel campaign to a heavily inspired Avatar campaign I'm currently running this summer. The original one was called Tribe and Tribulation. This one is called Tribe and Travels, or TNT is what we refer to it as. Majority of the characters are still here, but one of the players unfortunately was not available consistently for the summer. But fortunately, we had another person who was able to slot into the group and, change the dynamic in a very interesting way. So let's go ahead and join the game. Yeah, so as of time of recording, today is July 15th. So the party is currently on the Fire Island. A lot of shenanigans have happened, but originally it was all self-contained on the Air Island. So let me go ahead and go to this map. Oh shit. Oh no. Oh, what did I do? Oh, did I put all the characters? Let me reload. Okay, cool. I thought I moved all the characters on accident, but let me... Okay, so here's my really shitty drawing of the islands. And Basically, I have 5 islands and 5 different elements in my avatar sort of section. I tried to basically do a different genre or a different theme, what have you, for every continent or major section of my world. So this is the Drazic Isles. These are the Avatar Islands, basically. So we have the Air Island up here, Water Island over here. Fire Island is where they are currently at. Earth Island, where the party is going, and the Light Island. And all of this started because of the character backstory of someone who has only played D&D with me once, as far as I know, is the only time she's ever played D&D. A friend from high school. Her name is Breffy, and her entire backstory is she was the princess of these islands, and she was adventuring in a much different place, but because of her backstory and my current players were really drawn to the idea of an avatar like um, campaign. It was something I threw out randomly as an example. All of this was born from 2 interactions, and yeah, it's become this really interesting, wonderful thing that continues to expand and widen and deepen. You might notice that there's a storm in the center that is a sort of local phenomenon where they're on the rainy side of the island, so which is for me like relatively north, depending on where you're going. It's more like whatever side of them is closer to the equator. It's not currently known why this hurricane magically persists, but it is known that it's magical. And yeah, the last summer, their entire campaign took place in this one settlement, which is Pukalani. I use a lot of cultural inspiration from Hawaii. I'm from there, and so I thought it'd be really cool to tie a sort of aesthetic and culture of Hawaii, since it is a sort of archipelago with these islands. Um, since I felt like it would work out really well. My thieves' cant for this section of the world is based off of Pidgin, which is a sort of slang English that they have in Hawaii, that I grew up around hearing but not really understanding. And yeah, so far now they've traveled through every island, or through rather the air, water, and fire islands, and they're making their way to the earth and finally the light island because there's a wedding that they're invited to, and that's where they're going. Um, but yeah, aside from this map, all of these maps are new for this summer's campaign, and I updated a lot of people's art, but this was their home base. This was a bar called the Plumeria Pearl. They would have a kind of general purpose merchant here, and the idea was that in between sessions, to give that feeling of a living, breathing world, I would have NPCs who would just wander into the bar that they could interact with. Perhaps they could acquire something, whether that be knowledge, whether that be magic items, potions. One time they met a vegetable seller who, rode on an owl bear, and that was like super fun. Yeah, and they became really good friends with the bartender who I tried to kill on, I think, at least 2 occasions. But yeah, um, it really has been a blessing to have Astral uh, to teach a lot of people through because it is very simple and straightforward for players after I've set everything up. Um, and at the crux of it, that's why I stayed with Astral for the past year through 3 campaigns now. Um, or 3 campaigns that I've been the GM for, and 1 campaign that I played. Yeah, and then in addition to that, oh, that's major spoilers. If you're from Tribe and Travels, please ignore that. Don't think about it. Um, but basically, this character is named Eran. This is the character who wasn't able to join a rat folk artificer who had just such an amazingly stupid accent, and I love him to death. And also the adoptive father of one of the party's favorite NPCs. So yeah, I think it's only thematic that we put it to nightfall on this map. I don't know if it'll propagate through to everything, but I think this has been a definitely good test stream. It's certainly long enough. So I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream. I highly doubt anyone's ever going to really watch this, but this is more for me to remember Astral, and all the things that I appreciated about it. My campaign that I'm playing in is going to finish probably the week of, if not the week before, Astral officially closes its doors. So, there is that. Like, I have different videos on this channel, highlights and VODs and stuff that I'll be uploading, that will be showing Astral in full effect. But this is going to be my last sort of look at Astral and as well as previous campaigns. I need to make sure I go through, save all of the art and character sheets from those. Like I have a sort of timeline as well as bullet points of characters and their effects, but it would be nice to be able to hold on to a lot more of them, put like in a Google Drive or something. So yeah, thank you for tuning into the stream, even if it's just me, and